Good morning, my dear friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Coding with Vinod. Today I am going to solve a Leetcode problem on March 18th. Let us see problem. Problem says that we have to find out the longest nice subarray. If you have seen my earlier videos, you have here one keyword, that is subarray. Let us note down this keyword, it is subarray. Let's see. Now it is a medium level problem. It is not a medium level problem. If you have seen my earlier videos, it is a dead easy problem. Let us see problem statement. You are given an array nums. You are given an array nums consisting of positive integers. We call a subarray of nums nice. We have to find nice array. When it is set nice, when it bitwise AND of every pair of elements that are in different positions in the subarray is equal to 0. That means in a subarray, if suppose 1, 1, 1, it is a nums array. If bitwise AND of, this is the bitwise AND operator. It is used in bit manipulation. If bitwise AND of this 2 is equal to 0, then it is called as subarray. Consists of, it is in the subarray. Return the length of the longest nice subarray. We should return the longest subarray. A subarray is a continuous part of an array. What is known as subarray is a continuous elements. Note that the subarray of length 1 are also considered as nice. Note this point, make it as important, and we should remember this point that every element, individual element, is also a subarray. Now, how can we approach to this problem? We can approach to this problem. The brute force method is by using, for example, given array is 1, 3, 5, 3, 5. Let me say given subarray 1, 3, 8, 48, 10. 3, 1, 3, 8, 48, 10. This is the nums array. We calculate the subarray. For each element of this array, we calculate the subarrays. We calculate the number of subarrays, and for every element, we calculate the AND operation. For every element, we calculate the AND operation. If this AND operation leads to 0, we calculate the length of it. We calculate the length and keep track of the maximum length. In this, for this approach, the time complexity takes O of n square. That means because for every element we should find out the subarray elements of the remaining element. So it takes O of n square time. If we have know this subarray keyword, in my earlier classes I have discussed about this subarray can be solved using sliding window approach. Note this point in hashtag Vinod tricks. Take a note of this. If we find out the subarray, if we want to find out the subarrays, then we use the approach called sliding window. I have already discussed how this sliding window approach can be solved. Now let us see one example, and I will discuss this example using sliding window. Let the example is 1, 3, 8, 48, 10. Initial conditions are, they have said bitwise and result should lead to 0. Next condition is individual subarray. individual subarray. Individual subarray. I am discussing clearly, my dear friends. Understand this. Individual subarray also consider as an array. Consider as subarray. These are the conditions. I have noted the two conditions. Now I will say any conditions are missing. It is written this. Yes, these two are the conditions. I have just gone through this problem statement and I am recording this video. I have solved only at once. Now how we go through this approach is 1, 3, 8, 48, 10. 1, 3, 8, 48, 10. We initiate maximum length. That is, maximum length is equal to 1 because individual subarray is said to be an subarray. Now we initialize left is equal to 0. We should initialize the two pointers in sliding window, that is left pointer and the right pointer. Left pointer and the right pointer are the two elements. Now maximum length as 1, left as 1. We keep track of the used array, used elements. We keep track of the used element because if we have reached the maximum length, suppose this is the maximum length, we have reached the maximum length. By considering this element into these elements doesn't lead to 0. If it doesn't lead to 0, we should remove this element. Now we have reached the maximum elements, maximum window size. We should remove this element from the array to consider other elements. So we use the used keyword. Used is equal to 0. We iterate from the, we keep the right pointer from here. We iterate through the every element. We iterate through the every element. We check whether this should be considered in the window size or not. Whether we check whether it should be considered in the window size. Should be considered in the window size or not. Consider in the window size or not. Window size or not. If we doesn't consider into the window size, we remove the first element. That is, we iterate through the int right is equal to 0. We iterate through the right is less than n. Right plus plus. We iterate through the array if nums at right, that is the element at right and previously calculated is kept in the used array. Previously calculated is kept in the used array. If it doesn't lead to 0, then we increment the left. We increment the left plus plus. If this is the window size, suppose this is the window size. If this doesn't lead to 0, then we remove this element. We remove this element and consider the next element. Now this will be the window size. Now this will be the window size. For removing those elements, we use OR operator, XOR operator, because XOR of, if we want to remove the element from any element, we use XOR. We use XOR. I hope all of you know that what is the XOR AND operator does, OR operator does. Please go through this, what these operators do in this, and know the basics of these operations. We use is equal to we should remove the left element. We should remove the left element. That is nums of left. We should remove the nums of left. Here we have seen that the condition, if it doesn't lead to 0, if it leads to 0, we calculate the maximum length, maximum length. We calculate the maximum length. Math.max of maximum length. We compare the maximum length and currently calculated the length, that is right minus left plus 1. If we want to calculate the length of the subarray, I have said in the earlier classes that if we have to calculate the length of this, suppose it is the left, it is the right, then we calculate the length of this subarray using r minus l plus 1. R minus l plus 1, that is right minus left plus 1. We calculate the maximum length. Here we calculate the maximum length. Now we have calculated the maximum length. Now we should consider the if it is in the range, we should consider the right element. For including the right element, we use XOR operator. For including the element, used is equal to used R of nums of right. I will discuss again. First, initialize left is maximum length as 1 because the individual element is also an subarray. These are the conditions used in for a sliding window. These are the common. If you want to calculate the count, we initialize this variable as count. If it is, now we have said that we should find the nice array. That means end of these operations or the end of the numbers should get is equal to 0. For calculating the window size, we use the right element. If we get the elements in the subarray, we calculate the maximum length. That is, we should include those elements into the subarray. For including those elements in the subarray, we use this operator. If we want to exclude the element in the subarray, we use this operator. This operation, that is, we decrement the here for one operation we use y until we get this operation, until we get the element that is not equal to 0. End of the operation that is not equal to 0, we decrement the window size. For decrementing of the window size, we use this operation. Now let us go through an example and you will get an idea. Nums is equal to 1, 3, 8, 48, 10. Now left is equal to 0, right is equal to 0. We initialize left is equal to 0 and right is equal to. We calculate 1 XOR of 3. 1 XOR of 3 is 0, 0, 1. 0, 1, 1. We calculate XOR as like this. If it is same element, it is 0. I have already discussed yesterday what this XOR operation, how this XOR operation does. If it is different number, we keep 0. If it is 0, 0, we calculate, we keep 0. Now this number is 2. XOR of 1, 3 is 2. Similarly, we calculate the elements in the subarray. By calculation, we get 3 XOR 8 XOR XOR 48. We get these 3 elements as the XOR of these 3 elements leads to 0. It is the longest and it is the longest subarray of 3. Longest subarray of 3. Now, this is the approach to solve this problem using sliding window. Let us see the problem. Let us see the code. It is similar to here what I have explained using the pseudocode. It is the same way the code is here. You can go through this approach. I will share the GitHub link in the description. You can go through all the answers solution and you can solve the problems. So this is the approach, my dear friends, how we can use brute force approach for this problem, and we can optimize this problem statement. For this solution, the time complexity is O of n, because we are iterating through only once in the subarray, only once in the array. This is so. Thank you, my dear friends. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and share with your friends. Let's meet tomorrow with another interesting solution. Thank you, my dear friends.